Welcome into Pressbox Live. I'm Stan the Fan Charles of Pressbox and PressBoxOnline.com. With me is Eric Garfield from down in his abode in Bradenton, just adjacent to Twin Lakes Park. We're going to talk with him for about 25 to 30 minutes and get up to speed on some things going on in the organization. But I got to tell you about a couple other organizations first. And the first one asks a question: what company has the expertise and technology to make your home substantially more energy efficient, comfortable, and even virus free? That would be AJ Michaels Heating and Air Conditioning in Baltimore and Annapolis at ajmichaels.com. And we are also brought to you by the new Atman's Deli at Harbor Point. If you're craving that classic New York deli experience, look no further than the new Atman's Deli in Baltimore Harbor Point. Corned beef piled high, hand-rolled bagels, and something different. A bar, Atman's, has food and drink specials every day. And when the season opens, you can sit at that bar and watch the O's every night of the week or afternoon whenever they play. That is the new Atman's at Harbor Point. We welcome them aboard. And the special promo that's been offered by Superbook Sports is ending soon. There's a $250 first bet match if you open an account with Superbook and use the promo code StanCharles23 or GlennClark23, all one word, no uppercase. It can all be lowercase. Stan Charles or Glenn Clark 23. You get a $250 first bet bonus, win or lose. They'll match your first bet up to $250 with those promo codes. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And as we promised you, we're about to chat with Eric Garfield. Eric, how's the weather down there in West Florida?
It is getting hot by the day. I'm sure you can tell by the tint of my skin. We have just about past the 80s. So most baseball days, the temperature starts with a 9. Today, not a lot of wind. So it's hot. It's baseball watching weather right now.
All right. Um, we promoted that this segment would be, and we always have a hook that we use to promote our talks.
Right.
This is a tricky time of year for some people. Um, the bigger names that are still hanging with the club, like Kyle Stowers and Heston Kjerstad and even Kobe Mayo, and of course Jackson Holiday. They haven't been told where they're going. They may think they know where they're going, but you never know when an injury will pop that may free up a spot for them. But you've been through this for a couple of years now. What's it like for some of the guys, like say Bruce Zimmerman, Nick Vespi, those guys that, I think their eyes are open, but they both perform pretty well, and they think, hey, maybe I opened an eye, and then it's back to development again.
For prospects, the name guys, they have an idea where they think they're going. That's probably why when they find out they're not, that group is going to be particularly upset. They're
We're talking probably about Kobe Mayo
Yeah,
and Connor Norby, right?
yeah, guys like that, when and if and when they get sent down, are going to be frustrated because uh they expect more. They expect to be with a big club. They don't have this particular experience, or a great deal of it. Someone like Nick Vespi, someone like Bruce Zimmerman, they have been through this process more than a few times, and yeah, they both did well. So I'm quite confident they've gotten in touch with their agent and said, "Hey, can you get me a deal that's not a minor league deal? Can you get me that major league pact that I think that I've earned over the last couple weeks or couple years?" So everybody has a different perspective. But one thing I've noticed about the Orioles since Elias and Sig took over, nobody is talking about this. No coach is calling someone on the side and like, "Hey, Heston, I know what's happening with you. I think you should know right now." That is not part of the
Tight,
Orioles plan.
tight lips, tight lips. They are
Correct.
very tight lipped. The Orioles aren't the only team going through this. I'm watching the White
No.
Sox. and Kansas City right now. And they had the Kansas City pitching coach on, Brian Sweeney, and he was talking about how they had to give the news to Daniel Lynch, who done a lot of work. He went to pitch in winter ball this year to really jumpstart. Like you and I dealt with players that needed to sort of reemerge, and some of them have, like Kyle Stowers. But
Mhm.
like with the case of Lynch, he's more like the Zimmerman age. He's been around and he's going back down. And the coach was saying he knows he's got to put some more work in, and he's into it right away. Do Are there some that go there and pout, or do most realize if I pout, it's not doing me any good?
Of course, there are. There's players that are demonstrate a sense of entitlement, and it's not necessarily with their play or with their performance. It's with their attitude or mentality. The players that I observe over the years, most of them are hardcore athletes that if they're not going to advance in the organization, they want to be the best they can so they can earn elsewhere or achieve elsewhere. So I think the Orioles have done a pretty good job of drafting, signing, and acquiring less jerks. But there, over the next 10 days, there's going to be some mad athletes that expect more.
When you use the term jerks, I understand that term, believe me, but it's human nature to be pissed off at
Yeah,
first.
yeah,
For those players, do you detect a week later that they're in a different frame of mind, that it's not going to be productive to be? It's good to use that anger as motivation, but
absolutely.
to use it and pout and feel entitled doesn't do them any good to advance.
And it's not going to extend their career. And usually those are the guys that get cut or get waived, get released, or their careers end early. Right. It's not about you're allowed to be mad, you're allowed to be frustrated. It's what you do to handle that or what you do to get past that. Remember, the season is very, very long, and
Yep.
every organization has 50 or 60 coaches. There's jobs available if you can't play. But if you have a bad attitude, you're basically just destroying any chance to even submit your resume. So be like anything else in life, be a good
Yep.
person and some good things will come to you.
You make a good point there, because not only do you aggravate the team you're with, when some other organization thinks they might want to sign you, who do they talk to? They go to the team that had you and say, "What kind of guy is this guy?" And I think teams prefer to be honest with one another
They
and
do.
let their development take over if they think
Yep.
they can do better.
Yep.
But if a guy's a jerk, the word gets around they're a jerk.
And that is not what you want in this population. That's not what you want to be known as. You want to be known as a good baseball player or an overachiever or somebody that can help a team. Somebody like Taylor Davis, the guy who was around as a professional catcher, a minor league catcher for a while. The second he got out, he had 3 teams that he could sign with as a coach. Right now he's with Pittsburgh, but he was not a jerk during the decline
Yeah.
of his career, and it looks like he's going to be in instruction for quite a while. I got to say, good for him.
Two players you and I both got to see a bit of. They were both in the breakout game. Were the outfielders Judd Fabian and Dylan Beavers, and we
Mm-hmm.
saw them
Talk
quite a
about them a
bit.
lot.
Yeah, we saw them a lot. Uh, they never had a chance to make the team, but I think they did well in terms of impressing the organization that they are inching closer. They're making strides. Would you
Oh,
agree with that?
wholeheartedly. Beavers was the hottest player to start out the camps, and now that we're playing in games, he's batting third or fourth every single game. He's getting on base in multiple ways. He's even bunting and kind of like exploding out of the box. So Beavers is fine. Fabian has not been as loud, but he's actually been better because he's been more consistent. Gets a hit every day, bats cleanup. He has 3 home runs that I've seen from what they've told me, 2 home runs that I haven't seen. That's 5 home runs in about 2 weeks of games. So he's right on track where he was last year. The area of improvement that I've seen with him is not wasting any at bats. 2 strike approach needed to improve. It has. And the wasted at bats have gone from, 1 out of 8, 1 out of 9 to about 1 out of 15. So he's really, really improving his rate performances in camp so far.
And
Expect a
that's
big power season.
Fabian.
That's Judd Fabian, right?
Yeah. Was Fabian the one when we saw the breakout game together who made the two really good throws in the first inning behind first?
Affirmative.
Yeah, that's
One,
what I thought. Very,
both on target, one loud, and the next one even louder from
yeah,
left field. No bounces.
yeah. Very, very strong throwing arm, and he needs a development. They'll both start at Bowie this year.
Well, now is the time when you can listen to me a little bit less. There's Bowie lineups playing every day. So they've been in that double A lineup daily. So it's logical to conclude that's where they're going to be when camp breaks.
Okay. And they've got because of who is going to ultimately get sent down, they've got a tough road to hoe to get to Norfolk, don't they?
Well, it depends. Yes, it seems so.
I
And
mean,
in
there could be
April,
a Kerstad, a McKenna,
a Stowers,
and maybe a Stowers, before
right.
it's said and done.
But if you're Mike Elias, that's kind of what you want. You want your Dylan Beavers and Judd Fabian to have a
Pushing.
huge mountain in front of them so you can see how they climb it. And maybe they eventually find a way to pass those guys. Could you imagine this if this is the season that Fabian and Beavers pass Norby and Stowers? It's hard to not look at that as a positive.
No, I agree. It's not positive for Norby and Stowers. And you know what? The bottom line is those two players, whether they've gotten blocked here in the Orioles, they're both going to be major league players.
Totally agree.
You agree.
Totally.
You sent me a note about the 2021 international class that you wanted to talk about them today. Why?
Well, they're
And
starting.
who? Why and who?
Okay, the group, the nucleus includes infielder, switch hitter Leandro Arias, a pair of outfielders, lefty Thomas Sosa, righty Braylon Tavera, and another infielder Aaron Estrada, who I wouldn't have included in this nucleus type of conversation last year, but he's basically been the everyday second baseman for Delmarva. Arias has been the everyday shortstop, and the other two, Sosa and Tavera, have been in the outfield. The organization is letting them be themselves, letting them be loud, be outlandish, make mistakes, learn from their mistakes, and their workload is immense. It's lifting and exercise before the game, play the game, then batting cage, and it's starting to work. These players are shining as very very high level additions to the nucleus. Braylon Tavera yesterday against his friends in the Pirates low A hit the cycle in 4 at bats and had a walk in his 5th. It's 5 times on base, three extra base hits. So the results are shining through. Arias is getting hits lefty, righty, and playing an outstanding shortstop. So this group, this nucleus, is really a huge addition to the organizational roster, and they're starting to make an addition or make an impact and pass some players drafted and signed ahead of them.
And these are all guys signed by the Kobe Perez regime. That in other words,
Yes.
he took over, I think, in 19. I
Yes,
think it was
correct.
19, and then there was the pandemic, but he was still active. But so these are players the old Orioles would have never been able to touch because they had no presence down there. So we're starting to it wasn't immediate, but we're starting in 3
Correct.
short years to really see some of the fruits of that labor down there.
Absolutely correct. And the reason that it can't be immediate is because when some of these players were discovered, they were in their early teens. So this is them, the DSL, the Dominican League, and the Rookie League is basically their introduction to how to be a
Yeah.
professional athlete. Now there's expectations and they're meeting and exceeding them. In other organizations, that process takes maybe 48 months, 60 months. These guys are going to be on Delmarva. They're going to be loud with their tools. And a year from now, they're going to be 20 years old having expectations at minor league camps. So that is a very fast
So
track
these guys are only 18 and 19 years old.
today, right
Yeah,
now.
gotcha,
Yes.
gotcha. And that
Right.
pitcher that we saw pitch 2 weeks ago when I was down there,
He's 20.
the one who worked out with Pedro Martinez. What is
Edgar
his name?
Portes.
What Pedro?
Edgar Portes.
Edgar Portes. Is he going to pitch at Delmarva this year, or will he be at Aberdeen?
He'll start at Aberdeen. He's 20 years old, but in development, he's advanced past where these players are right now.
Do
And
you
he worked with Pedro.
do you think he's a starting pitcher?
Everything that we've seen so far, he goes multiple innings at a time, and he usually starts the game. So I'd be inclined to think yes.
All right. Let
Good
me.
pitcher.
I loved. I thought he really had a tremendous off speed stuff. You know, his changeup was really something to behold. Let me pay a bill now with the Costas Inn because they're one of our fine sponsors, and the Costas Inn. And then I want to talk to you about a couple big time prospects, Sammy Basayo, and a couple other things. All right. We'll do that when we get back. And the Costas Inn is located at 4100 North Point Boulevard. They've been there for over 50 years. Crab season is just around the corner,
Mm.
although for them, crab season's 12 months a year. But when's the last time you had Maryland steamed crabs, Eric?
Oh, 2015, a long time
2015.
ago,
So,
very long time ago.
all right. Well, maybe you'll get up this summer.
I hope to.
We'll get you out there, the Costas Inn. Anyway, you do need to make a little bit of a plan for yourself, though, because the days of being able to walk into a good crab house and just assuming they're going to have crabs at your beck and call, those days are kind of over. You need to call ahead, have a plan. 410-477-1975 is the number at the Costas Inn. Call them, reserve the crabs, find out what sizes are available, what the price points are, and how available they are, and make your reservation there. And again, they've got great dinner specials. If seafood and crabs are not your thing, or you went last week for crabs and now you want to just have dinner there, great specials Monday through Friday at the Costas Inn. You can also, if you're a little nervous still about eating out, you can order your food online at costasin.com. You can pick it up, pay for it online, order it online, pay for it online. You can't pick it up online. You have to go there, but you don't have to even get out of your car. They'll bring it out and they pack everything perfectly. So your grandmother's crab soup is not going to spill over
Mm.
your ribs or something like that. So anyway, the Costas Inn, I love the place. Check it out. All right. Back with Eric. Eric, before I ask you about Basayo, you were mentioning to me before we went on the air that the pitcher, the highest level college pitcher that Mike Elias has ever drafted, he drafted what out of Florida last year, or was it Florida
Florida
State?
State.
Florida State. Jacob Baumeister.
Yep.
And you saw
Jackson.
Jackson Baumeister, right?
Yep.
Okay. And you saw him pitch today or
No,
yesterday? Yesterday.
he pitched on Wednesday, yesterday.
Yeah.
Really, actually, very, very exciting. There was a good crowd at Twin Lakes,
Was he
and he
slotted? I mean, like, is he slotted as Delmarva, Aberdeen, or where's he slotted?
he did not pitch in the A level game. He
Okay.
started and went a surprising 4 innings in a mid slash high minors game, facing hitters like Tamar Johnson, facing hitters like Sung Se Chang, Hudson Head, real, consistently good players, lots of minor league experience. Gave up an unearned run when a double play didn't happen behind him, but he had 6 strikeouts in his 4 innings, and he looked outstanding. He's got multiple breaking balls, and they break in multiple planes. So, the Orioles made a smart, savvy draft pick. He's not even 22 years old yet, so he might develop quite quickly as well. I believe he's going to start above Delmarva just by where he was used in that game.
You think he'll start at Aberdeen?
I do.
Okay. All right. That's fascinating
It
and
is.
exciting to hear. And Mike is a very patient guy because he's waited all this time to pounce on somebody like that. Is there any new news at the game the other night, the breakout game? You pointed out Carter Baumler to me. Is he
Mhm.
back throwing a bit?
He actually also, fortunately for me and anyone that wants to see him, he pitched in that game. He was I don't know the score or who was winning. He was the closer. he pitched the 8th and the 9th. He had 3 strikeouts in his innings, gave up 2 hard contacts. One Noberth Romero caught it at third on the line drive, and the other Hudson Head drove it for a single. But Carter looked even better with his breaking ball, but he should. He's thrown it in the minors and developed it a little bit further, and he seems to be a bit more athletic of a thrower than Bomeister. So both pitchers really shined in a game where the competition was way above their experience.
Okay. So when you see those guys pitching, is Holt at those games? I
Holt
know he can't. I
is
know he can't be at every place at all at one time. Is he? Is he keenly observing those guys?
the first person they communicate with when they step off the field, even before the catcher comes out and hugs them, was Chris Holt both times. I've said it so many times in this interview in this setting. They found the perfect job for this guy. He is absolutely thriving, making our minor league pitchers better, appearance by appearance. So yeah, he was there to support them, to tell them what they needed to do, to tell them how their metrics are going to look. By the way, I was sitting right behind Shane, and he had the gun out for Baumler. Baumler was consistent at 91, and the fastest pitch he threw was 93.7.
Wow. Okay, that's nice. Shane Turner, Ross Grimsley's good friend, who
Correct.
has really dug in. He told me at that breakout game that he's his team this year is the Orioles, one of his teams that he has to follow. And when Shane follows a team, it's not half-ass. I mean, he's
No.
down there learning he works for the San Francisco Giants, so he wants to know if the Orioles and the Giants engage in a trade talk. He knows, oh yeah, that guy Carter Baumler, he can,
Yeah, your boy is becoming an expert very, very quickly.
yeah. Well, he's been an expert a long time, long time. You mean he's getting his stuff together, knowing this club.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about Sammy Basayo. Is he back? I know he batted in that breakout game, and he's DHing a little bit. Is he pretty much getting regular bats now?
Yeah, he is. In fact, they're trying to get him a lot of at bats, even batting him early in the order and keeping him in the game for all 9 innings. He played in the Double-A game Tuesday, and today, although I wasn't there, people let me know he was the DH in the Triple-A game facing Mitch Keller, and where the Pirates had Henry Davis catching on the other side. All the signs to me are kind of putting together, making the picture very clear. Samuel's going to be accelerated through the system as fast as anyone can be. The Orioles want optimal performance, and they're trying so hard. So many developmental resources, coaches, drills, time on the side is all being put into him. And he got sent down to minor league camp and is totally fine with it. No bad attitude, no, demonstrative, physical things. No, like when he strikes out, yeah, he slams his helmet or he slams his bat, but he did that in the rookie league too. He's mad. He didn't want to strike out. So
Basayo is he 20?
he is not yet 20 years old. He is
19
19.
years old, 19 years
Yep.
old. Big, strong, left-handed hitter.
Right. And
very imposing figure too.
Yep. The other day, he got a line drive single off of Bubba Chandler. The fastball that he hit was a high 98-mile-an-hour heater, and he hit it right past Bubba's head on the line drive. So, he's increasing the caliber of competition and meeting those expectations almost every time. Samuel is a truly great, naturally gifted player.
Yeah, he is something to watch. I know we talk Oriole prospects on this show, but you mentioned the Pirates a lot, and you live in Bradenton, so you're close by there, and I know you see some of them. Your opinion of their organization is they are moving fast, isn't it? In
Oh,
terms of having tremendous prospects.
yeah, they're doing well with their high draft picks, but the way the Orioles system is overloaded with hitters, like there's just too many for
Yeah,
the available roster spaces. They're that way with pitchers, and there's a lot of baseball people that would rather be that way with pitchers. Too many talented guys with to fill every roster spot from AAA down to the Dominican League. they do not have enough innings for all the good pitchers they have. So it's like we need to trade one of our outfielders to release some pressure. They would be a perfect trading partner with a low minor's arm or two. And some
Yeah.
of them are really, really good.
Yeah, Ben Charrington, the GM, doing a really good job there. I mean, you
For the
love
drafts.
Tremar. We saw Skeens. I mean, he's going to be a monster.
Yep.
But Tremar Johnson, the second baseman, is going to be an
Outstanding.
outstanding player. And what about
Nobody talks about how good he is at defense, but I'm watching it every day. Yesterday, he turned a double play at second base that was so fast. He got the runner out at first by a step and a half. The runner at first was Enrique Bradfield.
whew, that
Yeah,
is
Tamar
fast.
can play.
That is fast. That is fast. What about the catcher, Davis?
I think Davis is going to be in the top 10 in MVP voting. I think he's going to have 500 at bats. I
He's
would
going
say
to be up this year, right? He'll be
I,
up
yes, he is
at the
starting.
start of the season. I mean, he's going to make the team.
Well, for several reasons. One, the guy Yasmani Grandal is not going to be healthy. He's going to start on the IL, but Davis would have made it anyway. So it'll be Davis making it, Jason DeLay as the backup, and they'll have two catchers. I think Henry's floor is 18 home runs and 80 RBIs, and I
Yeah.
think he's going to do better than his floor.
And he could win the Rookie of the Year in the National League,
He,
possibly.
he could, and they could have O'Neal Cruz as the top 5 MVP guy. So for the
Yeah,
Pirates, that's pretty darn good.
that is pretty darn good. Do you think Skeens pitches in the major leagues this year?
I do not.
You don't.
No, I think they have a very specific plan. It's going to be like 110 innings, maybe 70 pitches per appearance. Then next year, they really let him loose for his earning years.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. That's about it for today. You have anything else you wanted to get off your chest, so to speak?
Actually, very quickly, I do.
Yeah.
There's a player that we've talked about, and there's a player that like prospect observers and baseball observers all like to tell me that he has a low ceiling or he's not developing. And I'm watching.
This is your guy, Anthony Servideo.
No, it's not. It's not. It's a
Okay.
different
All
guy,
right.
similar position.
Okay.
But I'm watching him do everything good at baseball. I'm watching what the Orioles are trying to teach him, and he is learning, and he is also meeting and passing his expectations. That's infielder switch hitting Carter Young, who plays second and plays shortstop and has played some third. Last year, he got to high A in like 20 games. He had a 40% strikeout rate and a 7% walk rate. So that's going to need to be addressed. But he batted 300 and he was on base at 350 with a 103 weighted runs created plus. So he was better than average despite not maximizing every at bat.
So he was striking out 40% of the time, only walking 7% of the time, but he still had an on base of 350.
Because he got hits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember, there's a very small sample size.
Yeah.
So he is, what they're teaching him is to have more range at your infield positions and use your speed more and be an athlete. So far, everything I'm seeing, he's doing those. He's extending singles into doubles. He's stealing bases, and he's getting to grounders right and left at short and second. So if you think you know everything about Carter Young because his stats aren't shining or because he played at Vanderbilt, you're wrong, and you should go watch him play.
Will he be at Aberdeen this year?
I think he's going to start there, and I guarantee you he's going to do a lot better than he did last year, and he's got a chance to move up and develop quickly. He's 23 years old, and he does have some prospect pedigree.
Okay.
Carter Young is a good baseball player.
All right. That's good to hear. All right, Eric, we'll talk to you next week. Keep up the good work, and Scooter's doing well.
My dog is in recovery. He's actually on the floor in front of me right now in an awkward position, waiting for some attention.
All right, but his tooth isn't hurting.
It's gone.
All right, good, good.
Thank you.
All right. We want to thank our sponsors, Costas Inn, Superbook Sports, the new Atmans at Harbor Point, and of course, AJ Michaels Heating and Air Conditioning. Ross Grimsley and Luke and I will be on Monday. Eric, we got to talk because the Oriole game will be next Thursday.
Okay, we'll figure something out.
So we might have to move to Wednesday or
do that.
talk about it. Okay.
Yes, sir. You got it.
Talk soon, Eric
You got it.
Garfield. All right. Bye.